Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series Retro Fantastic Four. So here we have it. This is now going to be the second figure from this wave that I will be reviewing. I had Psychoman up on my desk here, and I don't know where I put him, but this will be actually the second figure of the wave. Dorkside has shipped out the full wave to me. Amazon charged me for the whole wave, but only shipped out Thing, so I don't know how those charges are going to kind of work out. So those ones haven't shipped out. So this particular one I actually did get from Amazon. It arrived yesterday or the day before. I'm not sure when it was. It took a little bit of a break from the videos, but I'm going to get to it right now. So Amazon got it. It actually came in a box. It came in pretty good shape, but this is going to be my opener, and then the one that comes from Dorkside will be the one that I hang up on the wall. But the crazy thing about this package, and we've seen it before with Psychoman and with the Doctor Doom figure that released last year, is I was wondering, how the hell was the Thing going to fit in the bubble in this packaging? And Hasbro, they had to get creative with this. And this is funny. So you see the little plastic parts right here. You could see his feet. So those are like the little stand parts so the figure can stand up on its own. All the figures have it, but with the Thing, his feet go right into those spots. Like, the figure is so damn big. That's the only way to get the figure to fit in there, was to put the feet right into those spots. That's hilarious. That's funny as hell to me. I don't know why, but that is just the craziest thing. But here we get that throwback look on the Fantastic Four card to the ToyBiz figures from the 90s, so that is pretty cool. Looking at the back of the package here, it says Marvel's Thing. The bio reads, with his nearly indestructible body and incredible strength and stamina, the Thing possesses the ability to crush evil. So pretty generic. Here you can see whatever his gimmick is. He has an interchangeable head, so that is pretty cool. We got a bunch of different head sculpts with all the different Thing figures that have released. So like the Walgreens exclusive here, and then the Super Scroll Wave version here. So we'll see if we can kind of swap around. I think the oranges are a little bit different on all of these figures, but let's take a look at all of that and let's get the Thing out of the package. Oh, and I didn't realize. Look at that. He's got some interchangeable hands right in there, completely hidden. So this was there, so you couldn't really see it, but there are the fists. So they had to really get creative to fit everything in here. Okay, and here is the Thing figure, Ben Grimm, out of the package. And he is pretty cool. A couple of things, though, right off the bat that I do want to kind of point out. It is the same, essentially the same figure as the two previous Thing figures that we released. We do have these new hip, upper leg pieces. Those are new because he has more of a tights that he's wearing, as opposed to like the shorts of the previous ones that we had gotten. So those two previous Thing figures essentially were the exact same. I think hands may have been a little bit different. Like, I think the Super Scroll came with hands that the Walgreens one didn't, and the head sculpts have all been different. So we have the fists here, so it's nothing new. The figure is really nothing new except for these parts here, and that is cool because it gives it a much more classic Fantastic Four look. We get some shading throughout that we kind of saw with the other ones. There's still no shading in like the lower torso and the legs, but the feet get it, the forearms get it, the shoulders get it, and then his chest, he kind of gets it. And it looks a little funky to me because we're basically looking at a line across the figure of kind of how they did the shading and the wash that's on there. It looks a little funky to me, but it's nice that they kind of bring out some of the details of the rock-like sculpture. It's nothing like the Walgreens exclusive that had a wash over the entire thing, but it kind of gives it a very particular look that I don't necessarily prefer. I kind of like the cleaner look, but I feel like maybe the Super Scroll one did it a little bit better because it's not as defined. So they did it kind of right on top of some of the rock formations and not like in the crevices, whereas this new one, it's just the whole thing across. And I think that's why I like this one a little bit more. I think this one looks a little bit more natural, if that makes sense. But so there's kind of the side-by-side comparison there. But the cool thing about this one is really the classic looking head sculpt. It looks really small on there, but that kind of really classic look. And when I think back to like the 90s cartoon, that's kind of the look that I remember in particular. And with the mouth open, you can't even see his teeth. And then we have kind of the gritting face here. But let's get in for a closer look. And I kind of feel like the legs want to keep staying apart because in the package, he's like this. So you just kind of have to work it around, but still really cool. So if you've missed out on the 2 previous ones, you know, I think this is one that you're definitely going to want to pick up. Or are you looking for those really classic looking Fantastic Four colors and outfits, then it's definitely the one you want to get. So let's take a closer look so you guys can see the details if this is your first time seeing the Thing figure. Okay, so here's a close-up look at the Thing figure, and again, that looks really good. Again, very classic-looking head sculpt with the open mouth, and he, you know, you don't see the teeth. That is very cool. He has got that crazy-ass eyebrow that kind of looks over. So the shading, the shadow that you see, you know, when I turn the figure is kind of crazy. But, you know, looking at the shading that they did throughout, again, it's a very, like, light orange color throughout, but it gets in between the crevices and everything, so it really gets, it's like all the way across, so it basically just looks like a line, so it just looks a little off to me. You know, we do get it here on the forearm as well, the shoulder, across the back of the figure, which is good because we actually get paint on the back of a figure. I could always appreciate that because a lot of times we don't. Here on the top, again, just kind of looks like a stripe that goes across his head. So that's just kind of weird to me. And then on the feet, we get a little bit on top of the feet and kind of around the big toe. But again, nothing on the legs. And I don't mind that there's nothing on the legs, just kind of pointing that out. Looking at a couple of things. So the elbow, the hinge on the elbow looks to be a slightly different orange color. It looks like a kind of a faded, whereas there's a little bit of shine to the orange on the figure, but the elbow hinge is very matte looking, so it kind of sticks out a little bit. Not a big deal. Here we have the white of the tights. Looks like they're painted on, and every now and then you can kind of see a little scratch spot where some of that blue is then showing through, so it looks like that white is painted on over. No real issues there, but just wanted to point that out. But here is one of the head sculpts. Now let's take a look at the other. You gotta kind of force that one down, and I like this one much more because he has kind of the anger face. You know, it's clobbering time, so that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and do some comparisons here. So here is the Super Skrull version there, and we look at the Walgreens exclusive version there. I kind of like the Walgreens one, but I am really liking this one. And I have to get the other ones out of the bag to see what other head sculpts that they came with. Actually, the Super Skrull thing did not come with an extra head sculpt, it looks like, but the Walgreens one I thought did. Yeah, the Walgreens exclusive one actually did come with another one. I really thought, man, I don't know why I thought the Super Skrull one did. Maybe it's just because it was a different head to the 2 that we got from the Walgreens exclusive. So that we also have this one was essentially that same style and look, but you know, he kind of straight faced. So you guys let me know down in the comments below which one is your favorite head sculpt. I think I'm leaning towards this one. I have a feeling that because of the nostalgia and the classic look that this one might actually be a lot of people's favorites, but I think I'm really liking this brand new one here, the gritting face. You guys let me know in the comments below which one is your favorite. Now let's take a look at his articulation. Okay, articulation for the Thing. So he can look down that much there. Looking up, the head is on a ball hinge, but the way the shoulder and neck is, he can't look up super high, but he gets a decent amount going up. You get a full rotation in there, of course. There is some pivot that you can do. The shoulder you can get to go basically straight out, as you can see there. Full rotation, of course. There is a swivel at the elbow. It is a single joint, but with most large figures, that's what we usually get. So about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit less in there, unfortunately. Wrists swivel, and they do hinge at the wrist. So get the hand going, and again, swapping out the hands are pretty easy. You just pull it out, and we get the right hand on there, and then you can just pop in the fist that he comes with, and that hinges as well. We have a diaphragm joint on the Thing, so he can pivot to his left that much. You kind of have to really work it, hold on to it, and then kind of pivot him back so he can pivot to his right that much. Going back is a little bit, coming forward is a little bit as well, not a whole lot, but there's some. You do get a swivel at that diaphragm joint, so you can do that, and then you also get the waist swivel, so a couple of different swivel points in there for the Thing. Legs go out Ooh, that didn't sound good. That crack. Legs go out that far apart. He can kick forward that far. Leg doesn't really go back. You have an upper thigh cut in there. Double jointed knee, like so. No calf swivel. Foot hinges down. Let's get that hinge going back up. Ankle pivot and peg holes at the bottom of the feet, back at the heel. So decent articulation for this guy. I think for any kind of poses that you're going to want to get him into, I think the articulation is going to be sufficient enough. It is not the first thing figure, so if you have any of the previous ones, you know what you're getting into. So definitely, you know, he's got some movement. For a large character, it's actually pretty good compared to what some of the other figures that we get from Hasbro, so I think it's pretty good. Okay, so here are the three thing figures side by side so you can really see them. Again, they're all each have a different look, and each of the different thing figures, we do have matching Fantastic Four figures to go with the outfit. So all the Walgreens exclusives that were spread out across a year or two or whatever it was. The Human Torch is the Flame On version, so he doesn't, you know, he could kind of work whichever one you want to go with. We have the blue and white, which is much more classic, and this was the more modern take on Fantastic Four. I know you guys are going to want to see head swaps. The Walgreens exclusive one is not going to work with either of these. It's not going to make sense. It'll pop on just fine, but it's going to look weird. But I will do this particular one since the colors are a little bit closer, but definitely, you know, don't really work. But, you know, that could look pretty good. You can kind of fake it depending on lighting and stuff. But the oranges really just do not match. We get a much brighter orange with this new one compared to the other ones, and then like there's a little bit of shine to the orange on the new one as well, so be aware of that. I guess we could pop the Super Scroll thing head on there, see how that looks. Yeah, I mean that could work actually. From the, you know, from the front it actually blends in quite nicely because you get that same shading, the same color shading there, or close to the same color shading. So you could do that if that's what you wanted to do. Okay, and the only other figure in the wave that I have reviewed so far is the Psychoman. So we have the two retro figures so far. Again, I do have the entire wave on the way from Dorkside Toys. Supposed to arrive tomorrow. There's no way in hell they're arriving tomorrow because there's no way FedEx will actually be like on time. So I, you know, probably early next week I'll have the Fantastic Four figures and then kind of round out the reviews for the full wave. But this one's going to be pretty good. I really like the classic look for the Fantastic Four. Okay, and so here is the Fantastic Four, including the retro Doctor Doom that was released last year on the same ToyBiz inspired card back. So Fantastic Four together, obviously, of course, not matching suits, so kind of blank those out until I get the rest of the wave. But looking pretty good. Okay, and that is my review of the thing. You guys let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of it? Did you pass on the previous two ones and looking to get your hands on this one? I think it's definitely a good release, and it's probably the best only because of the classic. I still like the Walgreens exclusive because of the wash that we get over the entirety of the figure. I think most of the time when we see the thing, we're looking at like bright orange and everything. So it just kind of depends on which look you're going for. But the fact that we get the classic blue and white suits for the Fantastic Four, I think that's kind of a big deal. But you guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. As always, thank you for watching, and again, it's clobbering time.